What are we seeing? What are we seeing uh, in terms of the economy uh, and the overall state of American society today? I'm big on facts, data, and statistics. I'm big on actual factual data that uh, will clearly show you where we are and where we're headed. Where we are and where we're headed. And it's confirmed by going out into the real world and seeing real people uh, experience real struggle. And to put it in simple terms, we're living in a hand to mouth economy. Now, what does it mean to live from hand to mouth? It is an idiom. I'm looking it up. It is an idiom that means to have barely enough money or food to live on. It can also mean to spend all of one's earnings on basic needs without saving any money. People who live hand to mouth have no savings or reserve. And what are we seeing today? We're seeing this phenomena of people living paycheck to paycheck, meaning that they're living hand to mouth, and these are people that's on all uh, strata of income brackets, whether if they're making $100,000, $150,000, because it's amazing. $100,000 is not what it was uh, 8, 10 years ago. The last job that I had, I clocked that at about $85,000, and that was 10 years ago. And that was pretty good money 10 years ago, but it ain't a lot of money today when you can take into consideration taxes, insurance, rent, food, all of these things. After that money goes down pretty dramatically. I was recently talking to somebody that was, uh, you know, she makes $100,000 and she's looking to purchase a new car. And the new car that she's looking to purchase costs $100,000. And so, after whipping out a calculator, uh, and running down how much the payment was going to be, the payment turned out to be about $2,500. And the person didn't believe. She didn't believe the calculator. I said, you don't believe an actual calculator, actual finance calculator. She didn't believe in. This is an intelligent person, and she didn't believe that the calculator was correct. We're talking about down payment. We're talking about interest. We're talking about tax, license fees. Could be off by a couple of $100, but not off by thousands of dollars. And it came to the realization that, and they're living hand for, she's living from hand to mouth, making six figures, but she wouldn't be able to afford this $100,000 car, even though it's the car that she desires. And so what we're seeing is the reality that a lot of people just don't have uh, money to do what they desire, nor for 80% of the damn population to do what is necessary, which is basically heat their homes, put food on in their refrigerators, uh, and put a roof over their head. And this is literally a hand to mouth economy. And those who understood this many years ago, I'm calling them the Johnny come latelys now, that are understanding and realizing this is going to be extremely difficult to transition from to go from living in the world or worldly fashion to being self-sufficient, because they're going to have to sacrifice so much. I mean, I remember coming out and having to sacrifice so much, saving for 3 years, sacrificing all of the things that I like to do in order to make the transition. A lot of people, they're not willing to do that. And they're not going to be able to do that because of the hand to mouth economy that we're living in. People just don't have money to do anything anymore these days. Uh, or the lower incomes. I mean, if you're in the top 20% earners, you're going to be affected a little bit, but your life is not going to be disrupted as opposed to the bottom 80% of the people. And if you notice that, I said, people making $100,000 a year, and I know people making 120,000, $150,000 a year, and they're still struggling. They're just struggling at a higher level to maintain this lifestyle that they have. To maintain those car payments, to maintain that mortgage, to maintain that credit card debt, to maintain their, the little lifestyle choices that they make. They're just struggling to maintain it. And so, I'm more big on solutions. The as the economy continues to decline, you're going to see a whole lot more people, uh, those who got sense, make drastic choices and decisions. I mean, before, um, the whole concept of living in an old beat up used double wide, you fix it up like I did, um, uh, is going to be a luxury now. Now, what we're going to, and I've said it before, you're going to see tent communities. You're going to see people that are so destitute that they're going to be living in tents because they can't afford um, uh, the cost of living. And all it takes is one alternator blowout. All it takes is one medical emergency. All it takes is one unfortunate or untimely death where someone is not insured to pretty much throw your whole life in a tailspin. People walk around like nothing can happen to them. I mean, I'm cognizant. I try and be as self-aware as possible and hedge myself as much as I can. Um, but a lot of people, they're not going to make the sacrifice. There's going to be few people that's going to humble themselves, that's going to live in a tent. But that's where we're going, and a lot of people, they mocked me. They made fun of me. They said that I was a kook, I was a crackpot for thinking this way 8, 10 years ago. But now they're not doing that anymore. Uh, it's a sad deal to see people uh, go from hand to mouth um, to not being able to provide the basic necessities. I mean, you got to understand, uh, to be below the poverty line basically means that you don't have access to basic health care. You don't have access to basic education. You don't have access to basic. I mean, you can't walk in a shower and wash your ass. Um, you don't have access to basic good food. You don't have access to these basic needs, um, heat, um, shelter, adequate shelter. Um, this is where a lot of people are going, and the people that are there, uh, they're going to be there. They're going to be there because the numbers just don't add up. And there's going to be very few people that are going to make the sound choice and decision to say, you know what, this is the situation. I'm gonna make the tough choices and decisions. Um, because a lot of people, they're living in a fairy tale. They literally live in a fairy tale. They think um, that some situation is going to miraculously change as a direct result of them just sitting on their ass and hoping and wishing. And it's sad to see people. I mean, I know people are in this state, and it's sad to see them. It really is an unfortunate thing to see. Um, but for those who are willing to make the sacrifice, um, and I understand that living in hand to mouth, I mean, it's just a grueling way to live. Um, tough choices and decisions are going to have to be made. Those who are willing to make them, they will do well. Others, they will live hand to mouth and continue to be that way, and it's just gonna get worse. Rich and poor, free and bond. Hmm? This is where we're heading. This is where we are. Who there? Shalom.